Let's begin once more, now starting on Resident Evil 3. Apart from being on the fence about uploading previews of these to TikTok and instead just requesting people join me on YouTube for longer videos, I've got no other updates, so on to the video. We begin with a biohazard crew loading a Tyrant-sized package into the back of a helicopter. Wonder who that could be. Let me set the scene for you. The year is 1998 and the date is September 28th. Summer is coming to a close, autumn is just beginning, and we've just been blessed with such titles as Pokemon Yellow, Spyro, and even Blasto. Miss you, Phil. Also, Resident Evil 2, but I don't want to confuse the plotline more than it already is. So this title takes place before its predecessor, but also during and after. Basically, Leon is still practicing introducing himself into the mirror, and Claire is dropping nuts and bolts in the manifold of her motorcycle while she daydreams about what it would be like to have parents. And I was pretending to be a brave knight that saves his kingdom from certain peril and wondering what it would be like to have friends. Jill wakes up in her small apartment as she makes her way to the bathroom. Quick side note, but why does she keep a gun on her vanity counter? Oh wait, I figured it out. Just kidding. Jill wakes up once more at her desk. After exploring her apartment, she is interrupted by a phone call. It's Brad Vickers. For those of you who don't remember, Brad is the pilot from the original Resident Evil. He's calling to ask Jill if she happens to have a spine he can borrow. Only kidding. He warns her to leave the apartment before something terrible happens, but it looks like Nemesis is here and it seems he's had a mishap with electrical tape. He looks pissed, but I can't blame him. I'd be pissed too if I looked like I was by a meat grinder while the tenderizer waited in the background for its turn, and if I was portrayed by Eric Mabius. Jill, he came through your reinforced concrete wall. I don't think the front door is going to stop him. After escaping Nemesis, Jill runs into Brad, who is surprisingly upright and hasn't pissed himself. They make a break for a bar, narrowly dodging zombies on the street, just barely escaping with their lives. Just kidding. Bye, Brad. Brad makes himself useful for the first and only time in the series and gives Jill a window to escape. A friendly helicopter lets Jill know to head to the parking garage roof. What for? I don't know, but if it's not for a party with Nemesis, someone is surely f***ed up, because guess who's here? Jill thinks quickly and decides to discard the rotting corpse in the nearest vehicle and drive it halfway up Nemesis's ass. But unfortunately, this isn't his first rodeo, and instead, he does this for fun on Tuesdays. Personally, I wouldn't advise driving it off the parking garage, but whatever finishes off the leather-wrapped fetish demon. But as usual, it doesn't, and the car's explosion reveals how absolutely stunning he is. I'm sure his dentist is proud, but I can only imagine he gives god-awful blowjobs. Suddenly, a wild missile appears to save Jill, but appearances can be deceiving as Nemesis begins to show his Japanese roots as he begins to sprout a tentacle that would make a busty anime girl blush. Another missile takes our handsome stalker down, and Carlos runs in to carry Jill to safety. They regroup at his friend's older brother's cool secret hideout. I'm kidding, it's just a makeshift safe house for survivors set up by the UBCS. Now you may be wondering why Umbrella has a tactical countermeasure service that cares about the civilians they are more than happy to endanger. So Carlos introduces Jill to his superior officer, Mikhail Victor. Victor already knows who Jill is and politely requests her help to get the train cars running so that they can begin evacuating survivors. Jill agrees and wastes no time doing everything on her own. Sometime later, and Jill meets another UBCS soldier, suffering from some minor injuries, maybe a bit of swelling, but nothing too— oh, never mind. Yeah, I don't think he's going to recover from that. Jill eventually gets the power started and briefs Carlos on the situation, to which he informs Jill that she's done a great job and she should have a rest just after she gets the traffic controls running. Ew, crabs. After a few more errands and a handful of encounters with this miserably ugly bastard, and we finally made it back. Mikhail thanks Jill for all her efforts before informing Carlos and Tyrell about the next mission. Bit of foreshadowing for you. To rescue Dr. Nathaniel Bard, an Umbrella scientist who may have developed a vaccine for the T-virus. Jill, Nikolai, and Mikhail enter the train car and depart with the surviving passengers. All is well. We may not have saved the city, but at least we got some people to safety. Just kidding. Andrew and Tristan Tate's more handsome twin is back and ready to put Jill to work. In the kitchen. Nikolai retreats to the next train car, and Jill is left to watch as Nemesis collects Mikhail, only to— oh shit, he's got a bomb! We flash forward to the 29th of September, regrouping with Tyrell and Carlos as they attempt to find Nathaniel Bard. Before entering the police station they believe Bard to be holed up in, we make a chance encounter with Marvin Branagh, and we are treated to how he was bitten in the first place. Brad, you— Carlos receives a call from within the police department, and it's Bard. Bard explains that Umbrella is downsizing its staff, and he's afraid that the layoff will hit him, so he's hid himself away with a vaccine. Tyrell enters, and the group discuss their plan. Before anything of relevance can be shared, Carlos receives a call from Jill about the train explosion, and he begins to make his way to her. We return to Jill a short time prior to the aforementioned events, and it seems not only is she walking away with her life from that massive explosion, but she's walking at all. The fact that she's about as worse for wear as she was before the crash just shows how resilient she is, or how massive plot hole this is. Either way, Jill begins making her way to Carlos before Nemesis reappears. Why he has more of a bird-like physique, I'll never quite understand. But Jill and the newly reinvigorated Tate brother battle, and after finally being defeated, he has to be at this point. It's looking good so far. God damn it, why can I never be right about these things? Jill's infected and Nikolai shows up to gloat because, sure, why the hell not? And Carlos arrives to take her to the hospital in hopes that Bard may have a cure for her. Carlos and Jill arrive as Carlos scouts the hospital in search for Bard. Unfortunately, he can't respond due to this bullet between his eyes that seems to be affecting his ability to speak, or move, or breathe. Carlos discovers that Umbrella created the virus and is in the process of destroying everyone and everything that links the virus to them, and also the virus. Soon after, he finds the cure and saves Jill before Tyrell arrives and gives Carlos the bad news. Apparently, the United States government doesn't deal well with conflict, so instead of handling the situation with care, they're just going to nuke Raccoon City. Sounds about right. Carlos leaves and attempts to find a way to stop the nuke, and Jill returns to consciousness on October 1st to find out that her government doesn't take difficulty too well. Tyrell informs her that Carlos has gone out for help, and Jill decided to join him in acquiring the vaccine. Tyrell eventually regroups with Jill and informs her that their government says that they won't blow everything up if they can find a solution and bring it to them before they blow everything up. Wow, talk about facing challenges head on. The group begins making their way towards the vaccine before muscular Hannibal Buress is taken out by, what's the opposite of a gum job? Never mind. Jill collects the vaccine, but is stopped once more by, you guessed it, Nikolai. I'm kidding, it's Nemesis. And then Nikolai. Jill is shoved into an arena-like mixing vat before Carlos intervenes and attempts to make Nemi even prettier than he already is. Another confrontation with Nikolai, and oh, what a surprise, Nemesis is back and more stupid than ever. You realize when someone blows parts off of you, you should have less to grow back with, right? Whatever. So with Nemesis taken care of, maybe, but most likely not, we return to Carlos, who was busy pursuing Nikolai, but apparently Nikki got the best of him. Nikolai shares a boring monologue that tells us nothing really apart from working for a separate organization, and now that he's gone over his allotted 2-minute ramble, Carlos has intervened once more for a bro fight! Jill shoots Nikolai, and Jill and Carlos leave the annoying for dead. The city is nuked, and Jill vows to take down Umbrella. We finally reach the conclusion to this ending explained. Sorry, wrong series. I hope you guys enjoyed. As always, if you did, please subscribe for more content, like and share to help circulate this. It would mean a lot to me. And come back next time for Resident Evil 4.